I'm Shivsy.
And I'm Nats, and together we are the Sisterhood Circle podcast.
Our vision is to create connections with our community and inspire change in the world.
So be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to find out more.
So let's dive into today's episode. Hi guys, I'm Shivsy.
And I'm Nats.
And we are the Sisterhood Circle podcast. Today we are going to be talking about the journey of sisterhood and how we got to this point of recording our own podcast.
A wee bit mad.
So exciting. So a wee bit of background about how we met each other, Nats.
How long have we got? It's been a while.
It has been a while, almost a decade.
It's mad to think about, isn't it?
Aye, it really, really is.
If we think from what started off as just an interview for a job to then the transition of where we're sitting at across the table recording a podcast is a wee bit mad when you think about it in that way.
Definitely.
Aye, wild.
What's your first memory of me?
Running in to Curves Paisley late, sweating, wee bit harassed, under pressure, and been like, "Hi, I'm sorry." And the first thing he done was just give me a big hug. I was like, "Oh, I've really been in a situation that like I was only wee at the time, so."
And what age were you?
17. Someone just gives you a big hug. That's like the first memory that I've got vividly of like how that sisterhood was created.
I love that.
It's mad. What would you say the first one was?
You running late for that interview.
Now, the funny thing about this, though, anyone that runs late for an interview, they're like, nope, gotta be on time, that's it. Don't get the job.
Exactly.
Imagine if that had been the case.
It just shows you. It just shows you. And your mum as well. She told you not to come for the interview, didn't she? Can you imagine how things would have panned out
if you think, like, that email, the CV was sent, just proving a point, I've been like, who are you to tell me I can't do something? And then where it's then went to now from, like, working to being best pals to then being, like, family friends as well, holidays together and all that. Like, it's wild when you think just taking that one opportunity and what it can actually create all those years ago.
For sure. I think a wee bit of background on myself and Nats. We work for Curves. I opened my gym, 9 years ago in Irvine, and Nats was my first ever employee. She was my first ever coach, and she was 17. And I remember, like, the first time I met you, you were obviously, as I said, a wee bit late for your interview. But I totally fell in love with you as soon as I sat across the table from you. And I couldn't believe it when I found out you were 17. That was wild to me. And I mean, anybody that's ever done interviews before knows that you definitely don't ask somebody their age in the interview. During the time that Nats was chatting, I'd asked her a couple of questions and you'd referred back to school. And I was like, what age are you? And she said 17. And I was like, oh, it's good. She will know.
I had no clue that was a thing. I started doing interviews myself. I was like, yeah, I'm 17. It's crazy to think. And if you remember, that interview was never really like an interview such to me. I'd only ever been for one other like in my entire life, but it genuinely just felt like a pure conversation of like connecting on very similar like passions, what you could do, what your vision was for the club at the time and what you wanted to create down in Irvine. And I like just been like, right, okay, like that sounds absolutely amazing. I remember coming out, my mum being like, that. So, like, what would the hours be? What would the rate of pay be? And I was like, I don't know, it just sounds really, really good, so it does.
Do you remember the message you sent me, right? So, when Nat joined the team, because we were just opening, Nat thought that she was going to be working for free. She was up for it. So she had another job at the time, and you'd said to me, listen, what was it? What was it you
in my head, I was like 17, like I had commitments and I had other things, and I was like, right, I need to make this work financially. This is 12 weeks training that I'm going to need to do, and I'm going to be able to like still pay my petrol and all that. And I was like, right, how am I going to make this work? And I remember messaging you on like my break where I was working at the time, and it was along the lines of, right, I'm not able to give my notice just yet because I'm going to need the money like while I'm on my training and probation period. And your response was something like, you do know you're going to get paid for this job. And I was like, right, there's my notice, I'm going to be leaving. You're excited.
See, to be fair, at that point I knew I was keeping you forever. You were willing to work with me for 12 weeks for free.
I worked for free for you. But it's mad when you think like at that point we were just like, it was just like a working relationship. You were like the boss, you were someone that I was like, oh my God, this kid was going to create like something incredible. Even before that, like when you come into college, like I was studying at the time and you'd come in to like chat to all the girls in the course about the opportunity and stuff. And I remember sitting on like one of those wee benches that used to sit in your school assemblies and sitting like, oh, who's this person coming out of this? And you're walking in like dead confident, dead excited about what you were going to do, which was my side of how you feel. I imagine it was very different at the time. But been like, oh my God, like I pure want to do that. Like that's totally up my street, your vision and what you were going to do. I was like, that's like an absolute bit of me. I mean, you think like that was that first impression. I think there's always, and even if it's carried on, that was then someone that like I always looked up to you as like a role model with that. Because I was just like, oh my God, that girl's get like shit together. Do you know what I mean? Like in your head, like
I'm like that. I'm walking in. I knew Jan, who was like my lecturer when I was studying, like quite a few years ago, and I'd asked for a wee bit of help because I was going to be opening my own gym, like wild imposter syndrome. I'd obviously worked for Curves for 10 years prior to that, like managing someone else's gyms, absolutely fell in love with the brand. But walking in to a college in front of a group of girls trying to sell what I'm trying to do, honestly, I was shitting a brick. Like I really was. I'm like, these girls are going to think, what are they going to be thinking of me? So it's so funny to think that you were like, she's so confident, because actually I was just like, game face.
Inside you're like, what is going on here?
I know.
But there must have been like the fear as well, and not just coming into that environment and looking at it, but like opening your own business, taking that leap to do it, then trying to find your perfect team that were going to help you build your vision. Because as one person you can do a lot, but the vision was big, and it's like the bigger picture of what you wanted to be able to do. So that must have been quite daunting at the time.
It was definitely daunting. I think like when I look back, there was probably a little bit of doubt in my mind. I was very lucky to have a super supportive husband who was just like, go for it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get it done. Like, you can absolutely do it. You've been doing it for years, which was great. But I think it's natural to feel that way when you've got something new. Like, see today, like, I mean, how many times have we done the intro and we can't even do it? We'll probably be brilliant at doing it now that we're chatting. But I think like the first time that you do something, it's nerve-wracking. You're doubting yourself. All of those kind of feelings come to play. But once you actually just get into the nitty-gritty of it, it is fine. But it's been quite the journey, hasn't it, to get to this point?
I think though, when it's always a passion, like it makes a difference. It makes all those hard emotions that you feel at all those challenging times like absolutely worth it. And I think that's something massively connected from, like super early of.
Oh, definitely.
Same passion, very similar values.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot for then where that's progressed to further down the line. Like it's rare that you ever get someone that you just kind of like click with
on all levels.
And it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't be sitting across the table like this if it was hard. Do you know what I mean? I think that's something early doors, like from working together, it was always very, very easy to then what was created in the friendship outside of that. I don't know if I'd say that was easy early doors for me. You were probably dragging me quite a lot at the time. So for context for that then, I used to play hockey like internationally for the age group, and was always fit, always trained through hockey, that kind of stuff, and it was great. But we're coming up to European Championships, and the only training I ever did was with either my club or with the country training. There was never anything externally from that. And we had like one of the tests of like selection was a bleep test.
Yeah.
So like old school, having to run between the lines and all that. And most of us absolutely bombed it. One Sunday through in Edinburgh, like could not have went any worse. And I was like, shit, what am I going to do? Like if I don't pass this, it's going to be hard. I can remember coming in the Monday, sitting in the office and everything, and telling you about this, and you were like, right, what's the distance? Can't even remember if it was like 30 metres or something like that between the lines. And you went into the back corridor and like started measuring out how many metres, and you're like, could we run up and down here? Anyway, it quickly escalated to, right, so what you're going to do next is you're going to join me in the mornings, you're going to train with me, and I'm going to help you pass this bleep test. And I was like, right, okay, sign me up. What time's it going to be? And you were like, yeah, 6 o'clock. And I was like, what?
AM?
So 6 AM, and then you want me to go to college, and then you want me to come to work? Right, okay, I'll get a wee bash. And I do remember that first morning. You're probably more scarred by it than me.
I mean, see, to be honest with you, I definitely got what your mum meant about me, like, moody teenager. So we used to train in the Glencairn over in Stevenson, and at that point there was 2 treadmills and a treadmill here, so, and we mirrors in front of you. Do you know what I mean?
Who wants to look at themselves when they're training that time in the morning?
Exactly. So we were doing a sprint session, because obviously you had your bleep test to do, and the this is the vivid memory I have. Like, in between stints, Nat, like this, raging face, absolutely raging face. And I was like, you need to keep going. No! And I was like, okay, that's fine. But long and short of the story,
we got the job done.
And
we passed it, made Euros, everything was great. And I love training at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been training together for, 9 years now, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, like, we probably formed that relationship with each other through training. Obviously, like, in work, you're busy all of the time. And of course, like, you get to create bonds and stuff like that there and then. But I think, like, really for us, the friendship outside of work blossomed at training at that time in the morning. And
I think it's where you kind of like your honest conversations. It's where you can like connect in a more natural environment where you maybe don't need to be the work version of yourself at that point and helping everyone else. And I think it helped a friendship absolutely blossom into what it is now, but it also created so many amazing ideas and possibilities from the business side of things. And I think when you're in a more natural environment where you're looking after yourself a wee bit, that is where all your greatness comes. Like, nothing happens when it's forced sitting across being like, right, so what's the idea's going to be? Like, it all happens so organically. And I think that's when you know something's just meant to be. When it does flow, there's nothing forced about it. I'm probably seeing each other at our best points at 6 a.m. You've definitely seen me at some bad points at 6 a.m.
I think we've probably seen each other at some points at that time of day, definitely. Especially when there's maybe some hormones related.
That's a story for
another podcast.
100%. But yeah, I think that's where the real connection then started to happen and how that was all formed.
And then probably laterally, over the past 2 years, we've obviously had our connection through the different like sports we've been involved in as well.
That's true.
So we started off with High Rocks, and we've done a couple other wee fitness competitions here and then, but really found our passion for that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think there's just a pure love for what your body could do.
And I think like
that's huge.
Yeah, it really is. And as a female, that's like
so powerful.
Aye, it really is. It's not about what it looks like aesthetically, it's about what it can actually do.
I think it changed so many things, but also then like allowed you to bond together through doing it individually. So we did solo High Rocks ourselves and then went on to do a couple of doubles together and really like bonded through what each other could do, identifying different strengths that you would never have looked at, and it's been really amazing.
Right. I think it changed everything for me when it came to fitness.
Yeah.
So it did, it really did, and I'm just so grateful that we got to do that together.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to wee Ellie as well, because that's the only reason.
It was like the final part of the tripod for that. So
definitely. So
Ellie was the instigator of us getting a High Rocks, and I think it's crazy when you think about what had happened as we sat down in our film one day in the division board day that you had led with the team, and Ellie and I came along and we're like, do you know what, we're going to do our own visions for this year. That must have been 2023.
Aye, was it the year just after lockdown? Was it? No, was it 2022?
Surely not.
I think it might have been just after lockdown. Wow. I'm pretty sure it was, in fact, because if you think about it, that's 2 years, 2 seasons at High Rocks. It's
2023. 2023
was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can have that one. It was a couple of years ago anyway. Yeah, and Elsa put this thing on our vision board when we were sitting looking. It was High Rocks, and I was like, tell me a wee bit more about that. I'd seen it on like your Instagram, like it was starting to come up on your For You pages and stuff like that. And she was filling me in. I was like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. How good would it be to be able to do that? And from that point, we all just committed that it was going to be something we did. We had done something else called the Three Peaks. Me, Ellie, my older brother, and one of our friends, Jack. And before we knew it, like we were kind of like this wee fit fam that had just decided we were going to do a High Rocks. But it was amazing to see fitness really connect, and not only you and I, because that had always been something, but bringing like all of us together. And see if you think the trips like we got to go on for it and all that, like it is magic.
It has. It's been magic, and I think that has brought us together as a team massively. And I'm super grateful for that, for sure.
And I think it does just show the strengths in like all areas that you've got, and a real value physically and mentally for what your body can do. But I think that massively aids you in the bigger picture of your personal life, whether it be your work life, whether it be personally and fitness. I think all of that contributes to it. Something we were chatting about the other day was I can't remember how the conversation had been about, but we're talking about like strong women in business, and I straight off the cuff was just like, you're a strong woman in business, Shivs. And your response honestly flabbergasted me. Like, I would always say, like, looked up to you as a massive role model, both as a person and as a businesswoman. Like, when they go and get stuff, you do whatever has to be done to get a job done.
Yeah.
It's been easier than others at times. It's been really bloody hard at other times for you as well. And I would say if someone asked me about a strong woman in business, you'd be one of first off the top of my head. But your reaction was literally you burst out laughing. And I was like, what's that about?
Do you know what I think though? I think that you kind of just do your thing and you're not really thinking about what that is or maybe how it looks to other people.
Yeah.
For me, and we had this conversation this morning, I'm not really that in my head. I kind of like, I'm quite cut and dry, like I don't really...
Really?
I'm quite sorry.
Glad you said that one.
I'm quite cut and dried, and I don't really overthink situations. I probably think too much about what I'm doing and how that's perceived to other people, which I think is probably quite a lucky thing.
Yeah.
Because being in your own head can sometimes be a wee bit more challenging.
Yeah.
So I did laugh. The reason that I laughed out loud because I don't know if this is absolutely mental because I've owned 2 gyms, but I don't really see myself as a businesswoman. I'm not sitting here in a suit.
So just to paint the picture on that, right? So, like you're brushing that off, I'll own 2 gyms, right? So Shivs has got 2 gyms, one in Irvine, one in Paisley, one that's 9 years old now, the other that's coming up on 6 this year.
7?
Shut up.
29? No, 6.
Aye. I was like, wait
Sorry,
a minute.
Paisley.
That's 6 years old, and I think that it's one thing to go into business and start something, make a vision, become something, but it's either like 2 businesses to go through that length of time, particularly in the fitness industry where trends are ever changing. There's always that new next thing, but also bear in mind a lockdown during that, and to still have 2 businesses at the other end, like for me that doesn't happen by fluke. Like that's hard work, and you might not be sitting here in a suit and tie, right? It's a pair of gym short leggings and a workout top, but like you are like an incredibly strong businesswoman. I know you still feel uncomfortable.
I don't feel uncomfortable. Like I get it. Like I think that it's just probably never something that I would have naturally, like I wouldn't have been like coming onto this podcast and being like, hi, I'm a business owner. Like it's all.
But I think it
I
shows
don't
you
know
that
if
you
anybody does that.
like you're swagging about it. You don't ever get into what you're doing for that reason. Like the end point's never right. So what's your vision? My vision to be a strong businesswoman. Like if that's the reason why you're getting into something, then you're never going to get to that point. Like your vision has always been to help the women within our communities become the fittest version of themselves, the healthiest version of themselves and beyond. And when that's your reason why, it's probably quite easy to blur out all the other stuff that might come with that, because you're just so focused on what it is that you get to do.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, see, when you get to do a job like what we do, we're in women's fitness and we get to interact with people day in, day out. We're able to coach and we're able to guide, but also we create these relationships that they matter. Like, they genuinely, like, you're seeing these people, these members, you're seeing them transform their lives, but you're seeing them more than you're seeing your friends and your family.
This is true.
And I think that when you're in a business as such, doing that, it doesn't feel transactional.
Yeah.
It feels like you're actually getting to make a difference. And I think for me, like, that's where my passion and my vision really lies, is I love to be able to connect with people. And I think, like, this is why this Sisterhood Circle podcast, like, we connect in our communities so well, but this is like this wee safe, confined space that we've created. So that's it. And this is out with, like, this is out with the circle as such.
Quite literally.
Exactly. So I think, like, within, like, our communities, we feel quite safe in what we're going to do and how we approach things and situations. But you know what? Like, over the past 9 years, like, you as well, you've been with me for the very beginning within that business. Never mind going into this one, maybe the next 9 years what happens with this. But, like, we have been able to create this tiny, like, not tiny, there's 900 of them, like, it's but this safety bubble where we can coach and we can be funny and we can be daft and we can make a wee bit of a fool of ourselves, but also we can impact people daily.
And I think that's huge.
It is.
The big thing is connection. Like, that is, I'm going to this a wee bit later, how the podcast actually was created and where the idea stemmed from, but the vision's always been about connection. Like, we are in a world that any opportunity to take away that physical connection, that interaction, is getting taken away left, right and centre, whether it be everything online, the social media world that we're getting into, and you just go, people thrive off connection.
Oh, without a doubt.
One of the first things I remember about you is you giving me that hug. Like, that's a connection that we get to do daily in our communities, is like just interact with your members. And I think there's a saying that, like, more than just a gym gets chucked about so much now that you're like, what does that actually mean? But see, when you know every single detail about that female's life, you know what's been going well, you know when she's going for a job interview, what's going on with her family, and you're checking in, like, they are your second family. And that's when you go, like, that's what I get to call work. Like, that still blows my mind to this day that you get paid to do it. Yeah, of course, it's not a walk in a park.
No, it's definitely
there's
not.
a lot of hours, there's a lot of work goes into it, but at the end of the day, you're just helping females become the best version of themselves, whatever that looks like for them, and everyone's just so different. And see that when you've got someone walking through the doors, and whether it be like a mental transformation of something they've then been able to do, to physical transformations, to strength, like, and you just go, like, this is work.
This is incredible.
Like, it is, and I think that's something we massively bond over, is that absolute passion for how do we just help, like,
more
how do we help more people? How do we get, like, help more of the community? And this really is where the podcast stemmed from. Or something that was probably a joking comment someone once made, but I think that bigger vision of what that can be that we're going to talk about is really quite exciting.
Oh, it is. It's a buzz. And see, if I'm being honest with you, like, probably 18 months or something like that, you've been like that, Shivs. Like, come on, we need to do this podcast. And I'm like, aye, all right. And we're kind of like 18 months down the line here, and we decided, no, we're just going to do it. And I think that probably, it really, maybe, what was it, a year and a bit ago, maybe?
Well,
was it when Jeanette Moore?
Still now. Moore at the time, still now.
We have an annual awards night and birthday party in Curves, and Nats, honestly, this was incredible. I'd been working in Paisley quite a lot at that point, and you had pulled together like a brilliant awards night, and I had come down and you took everybody funny and I had everybody serious. She does this, by the way.
It's not back, I've been the organisers. It's like emotional one you can take. I can't deal with the emotional ones. I end up getting into the mic.
You do. But I mean, you had a lot of fun awards to give out that night. And do you know that way I was watching you and I was thinking, oh my God, she has got this going on. Like, I looked at you, I think I said to you afterwards how proud I was of you and how well you'd done. And you had everybody hee-hawing and laughing, like you were full of banter. And it was a pure joy to watch. Like, I know that we spoke earlier on about you being like you were 17 when you started. And like, over the years, how you've really, really developed into like this strong, powerful woman. I see you as a strong, powerful woman in business as well. But like, to go from a 17-year-old who was just making her way into the industry right up to presenting these awards. And then at the end of like the awards ceremony, like Jeanette had come up to you and was like, you need to do a podcast. And I think it really, like, I know that you'd been thinking about it, but that was the solidifying moment, wasn't it? It was like,
I think at that point when like someone else suggests something that's already been in your head, I think you go from being like, oh, that's a fairy tale reality of like, I'm never going to be able to do that, to being like, oh, wait a minute, this is something we could do. And there was like loads of jokes on the night is about it, like times on the circuit in the club when she would have been in and it was mentioned, and we're like, oh, like, we'll do this, like, it'll be called like Get Chatty with Natty and all this pure chat. Imagine pure, we didn't come work, Alan Cat, Get Chatty with Natty. Like, that's a bit awkward. It's a bit cringy, I would say.
Is that why you wanted me on board, so you could change the name?
Absolutely.
Is that why?
It's the only reason you're here.
Right, hang on, I'll just be quiet.
And then when I really got to think about it, and it was like, there's an idea, but like, what do you want it to be? Like, I think it's great having an idea for something, but there's always going to be an impact that you want to create from it. Like, you don't just want to come on and be like, just, like, chatting all about me. We are the world's worst at chatting about ourselves. Someone says, how are you? Fab, yes, so what have you been up to?
500 questions.
Or what are you doing in life? No, what about yourself? Like, I say all the time, I'm a shitty questions, like just 5 in a row, so nobody asks me about me. But it's like, how could we create a bigger impact with it? And when I thought about the impact that we could create in, like, community connections, the bigger picture of leading to in-person events off the back of this, I was like, do I see myself doing that by myself? Absolutely not, because I think what we've always had is an absolute connection within ourselves that not only flourishes, but it really inspires people, because we're honest, we're helpful, we're that vulnerable side of us when we show that. It really connects with people. And I was like, I don't really want to do this myself. Mentioned it to you and you were like, what? Don't really know how you felt about it at the time, to be fair.
I think, to be honest with you, I'm very comfortable with myself and my environment. This has taken me out of my environment, so it made me feel a bit uncomfortable, but growth only happens when you're uncomfortable, right? And you can't stay comfortable all the time, right? So for me, I've been in my curves bubble for 20 years. I am now coming on board with you to create something completely different, which is, it's going to be amazing. I absolutely know it's going to be amazing. But how did I feel this morning? My, like, palms were sweaty, I was nervous. Now that we're chatting, I just feel like we're having a conversation and we're just being ourselves, which is great. But I think, like, where the vision of the Sisterhood Circle comes from, like you said, like, we want to connect people on a deeper level, whether that be starting here in Ayrshire and it blossoming out the way would be fantastic. We want to be able to do these in-person events where we want to, like, connect with different female business owners in health and well-being, really bring it all together, because we need that.
See, when you bring that community together, I think, like, we're always so, like, not fortunate because it's created, but, like, the community we've got in the club is something else. Like, it's women supporting women. There's absolutely, like, no negativity. It's just how we empower, how we lift everyone to be able to do it. And you just go see if there's more of that in your wider community, but also within the fitness industry community as well. And that comes together, I genuinely believe, can create something incredibly special that can only help people through, like, that connection, education, and just social conversations that are getting less and less and less as time progresses. And that, like, it's a buzz when you think about getting nervous and sweaty palms, or for me, I've been like that all morning if I get the sweat patches in the gut here. Like, that's your reason why you're doing it, and that's why pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone, as much as it's hard sitting here, and is it just a conversation, but there is a big bright light and there is microphones,
cameras,
don't normally,
and it's a whole table.
When we go for, like, a coffee, or when you're sitting in the living room, as much as it's hard, like, we're doing it because we know what that's going to be able to create. And when we put that energy focus of working towards that vision, it's an absolute buzz for what it could do.
Definitely. And
it's exciting.
I think, like, long term, the goals for the Sisterhood Circle as well kind of span a wee bit wider than that too. When Nats and I, a wee bit of scope on this, Nats and I like to spend Christmas together as a family. So I kind of tagged on in Nats's family Christmases in Dubai 4 years ago. Maybe? Yeah.
Never ever left after.
Never
It's
left
like
after.
minted.
Well, listen, you came with me to my holiday destination this year.
Tables were
beginning. So we were in Thailand this year, and that was the first time that you'd been to Thailand. You loved it.
Absolutely amazing. Can't wait to go back.
Exactly. So, and while we were there, we then started thinking, retreats. Can you imagine maybe a few years down the line being able to really run some minted retreats that focus on health and well-being and connectivity, and allow women to just come and be the best versions of themselves? We do whatever we do, our coaching, we maybe bring in some other fitness, like women in fitness, to get involved, because I think connectivity between business owners is really important. It's lonely at the top sometimes, like, and I think that I sometimes look at even other women that are in business, like in the local community, like fitness businesses, and I think to myself, they're doing an absolutely incredible job. I wonder how they're feeling. And it can be easy to just get caught up in your own thing and not really think about reaching out to other people.
Massively.
So it's just, I think, like, this whole thing is going to be about really making some strong connections with some strong women, but also helping really build up women again through, like, these in-person events.
Massively.
Aye, and looking at retreats, can you imagine how incredible that would be?
Oh, it's huge. And I think we've been so fortunate through like hard work that there's great experiences in life that we've got to have, and we've got to see amazing places, do really, really cool things, from going on holidays together to community festival that we went down to Love Trails coming up this year. And you just go see if you can even create something even a wee bit smaller that's just going to give people that opportunity. I think is a really, really exciting thought, because it's something without that push, without that community, that connection, would people ever get to experience those things? And we know how points throughout that, whether it's been holidays and conversations we've had, or whether it be down at community and the things that we experience down there, how life-changing that can be. Like, there's opportunity in front of you. What do we say? An opportunity passes every how many minutes or something?
One.
Every 1 minute like that, constant. But you go, if you can even create that for other people and make an impact where they go, oh my God, like, that's been life-changing for me, or I just got to experience something I would never have experienced if the Sisterhood Circle didn't exist. You go, do you know what? Like, you're in an amazing position just to help. And that is the main vision of it, is just to be able to help. And when it comes down to that, even the work that we do, like, that is the vision of it all.
It's who we are.
Right, you just...
And I think, like, that's a big thing. It's not about, like, what you do for work always. It's about who you are as a person and what you've got to give to the rest of the world. And that's what we want to do. We want to impact the world. And I know that sounds like it sounds insane when you say it out loud, like this huge world that you've got, right? But why not?
Exactly. And see if you can impact the people in front of you, and then they impact other people, and then it just absolutely flourishes out from that, is huge. And do you know what? Like, I remember being down, I think I spoke to you about this before, an event called IFS, my older brother. Which was like a big fitness event, and one of the guys that came on, Chris Williamson, was like that, what would you ever want written on your grave?
Oh my
God, when you're not
wow.
here. I remember being like that, deep question, man, like nearly started greeting, you know how I feel about all that conversation. Not very good with like death and what happens to me and all that. And I was like, sitting next to my brother, who at the time probably wasn't that way inclined thinking. He's like, don't really know. And I was like, just want to have made an impact. Like, whatever that is, you just want to have been able to make an impact on helping people in the world. And see, as long as you can say you've done that, regardless if it's 5 people, if it's 55, if it's 55,000 people, you just go, do you know what? I made an impact. I think that's massive. As much as it's who we are, it fills our cup massively. And I think we, as much as we keep coming back to talk about it as work, like, you work so much of your life, right? See if you've got something that is not filling your cup, or you're not getting a meaningful purpose out of it, and that's taking up like 40 odd hours of your week.
How's it going to make you feel? How's it going to impact your mood, your mental health, everything?
And it does stem down to that. Like, as much as we give a lot, it massively gives us a lot in return as well. It's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Wild.
So Nats, as we approach the end of this, if you had one superpower, what would it be? And why?
So, I've got 3.
Shut up.
Right, just to be different.
Right, hang on a wee minute, just to let you know she's always greedy.
Well, the first one is a wee bit greedy, to be fair, because I would love to be able to eat cake without it having a negative effect on my body.
Okay.
All types. Right, so that's just superpower number 1. I'm not fussy.
Hang on.
Just...
What would be your favourite cake and why?
Now, the question is a tray bake a real cake? So I wouldn't say it's like a sponge cake or anything like that. Like, I'm definitely more of a tray bake cake. Say like your Rocky Road Millionaire shortbread, like Empire biscuits, like probably more a biscuit girl.
What about a non-UPF lemon cake?
Right, don't be a wee rascal.
So
you
just...
definitely... Right, so I'm leading... Shotgun. So what happened was...
That's also owns a cake business, just so you know.
I'm very controversial, like make people really fit and then feed them full of sugar. But life's a bit balanced, guys. So... I can't believe I'm going to say that. When we were down at community, one of the big things that Shivsy took on board from that was really starting to look after like health a wee bit more in nutrition, more than just like calories in, calories out, looking at like ultra processed foods. So it was coming up to her birthday and she's like, no, it wasn't your birthday actually, you sent me at the start of the year. And digging my hole for myself here.
Yeah.
So it sends me this like
past.
This non-UPF mad lemon cake king was like, I'd really love it if you could make this for me. I was like, I know about that, it's fine. And this must have been like last February or something, right? And then your birthday's in November. Anyway, it gets to November. Now, not making any excuses, like, we were a wee bit busy.
A little bit.
Just like...
A little bit busy last
Just like
year.
opening, closing, working, making sure all our members were serviced. But, you know, it's okay, I'm still a good friend. So I buys like the almond. Oh, shit. How do you say this again?
Almond.
So I think it's almond, but it's always almond.
Guys, see
is
if
it
you
Dodrant or Dodrant?
listen, if you're watching this, please comment below. Almond or almond?
And what's deodorant?
Dodrant. Sean says that too.
Dodrant.
Sorry, we're going off on a
Digress.
tangent. Back.
Yeah, so I ordered all this, like almond flavour and all that and all the other things, right? Comes home from work one night and I'm like, fine, let me make this for Shivsy. Starts doing it. Anyway, royally made a mess of it. I was trying not to say that.
Tactical, I can see that.
I'm not a mess of it. Anyway, made a mess of it. I had to order more almond flavour. So that I was being a good friend, I didn't want to turn up with no cake. So I turned up with like 6 really good cupcakes that people, by the way, value and pay good money for. And Shivsy was like, thanks. Wasn't on non-UPF cake. Anyway, long story short, made it like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Oh my God, what a disaster.
It was such a disaster.
So I mean, the thing to start off with, like, look, the sponge looked great. The filling was like not thick enough to hold the cake, so it was a bit like splat. Turned up with it so that I was like, well, I want to show that I've made the effort. Messed something up twice, somebody's going to think I've taken the mic, right?
Yeah.
So turned up with it and like facial says, oh, thanks, that looks lovely. What was the rating out of 10?
None. -5.
-5.
It was pretty rank, let's be honest. It was, I mean, you did a really good job. Like, it did look maybe a 5 out of 10. And I was like, I'm pure buzzing to try this out. And don't get me wrong, like, I think that, like, the icing was made from, what was it?
Like mascarpone and like cream and all
yeah,
that.
So I was like,
a bit
that was,
slimy.
it was tasty. The cake wasn't ideal. So I don't think I've ever done this in my life. So the cake, but this size, right in the bin.
So glad I spent 3 hours doing that.
No, I was absolutely so grateful. But what we have learned is that cake
It's meant to be.
is meant to be UPF, ultra
Aye.
processed. It's just got to be, but otherwise.
So, yeah, that's why I want to be able to have unlimited cake and not a negative impact on my body. Done quite well to bring us back
You
on
did,
track
good
there.
job.
Good job. My second one would be just my superpower not to sweat. Like, so I'm painting a great picture for me here, and I'm a sweaty wee person.
Sweaty cake bake.
Is that into fitness?
It works.
It works. So anyway, like, I train, like, I sweat. Shivsy and I work out together. Shivsy is like pure glamorous, like, here we go. And there's me that's like this sweaty pal with the most, I'm going to say the word, moist forehead.
Oh, do not.
Right.
Can't even cope with that one. Anyway.
And like, then you've got to think about the colour of leggings you wear because sweat patches and your arms anyway. So that's superpower number 2. And superpower number 3 would be to create a wee shot, right, that has all the positive endorphins exercise gives you. Mm-hmm. And give it to everyone in the world to shot once so that they know how it makes them feel. And then they take it and they go, actually, go start doing that.
Which would be amazing.
So I might be greedy, but I would say they're 3 really, really good ones.
Yeah, I think
But
that's great.
you do only have one, don't you?
I do only have one, and I feel like your shot has kind of taken it away, and that's okay.
Oh, yours
right?
might be better.
No. But do you know what? I actually do want to talk about this because I think it leads really, really well into it. Because everybody does want to feel incredible by just doing one wee tiny thing.
Yeah.
By having one wee shot, the whole world, if they could take something that would just make you feel incredible, then they would do it, right? Why wouldn't you? Because it happens so fast. But unfortunately, that isn't how things work, and it's everything that makes you feel amazing.
Yeah.
So my superpower is a wee bit deep, right? And I think about it all of the time because I have been coaching for just coming on 20 years now. Which is crazy.
Wild.
And when I say coaching, I say that very loosely. Probably the first 5 years, I was kind of honing my craft a wee bit. But anyway, to go back to
20 years.
20 years.
See, for someone that I've got is like 30 in my head, you've been coaching since you were 10.
No, definitely not. 38, by the way. But yeah, my superpower would be that if I could take somebody's body for a week for them and eat well, exercise the way I exercise, sleep the way I sleep, and downtime the way I downtime.
Yeah.
and then give it back to them and for them to feel that, how that feels. I think if you could do that for people, everybody would change everything.
Massive.
And what it would do is it would spark real change when it comes to health and well-being, because it isn't just about taking a shot, and it's not just about having green salads, and it's not just about going to the gym. It's how you live your whole entire life. It's everything that you consume, and I don't just mean food. It's who you surround yourself by. It's your tribe of people. It's what you engage in. It's what you're doing in your mobile phone. It's what you're reading. It's absolutely everything. So see if you could give somebody the opportunity to be in the right environment, or feel how it would feel after a week of being in the right environment, surrounded by the right people, eating the right food, getting enough sleep, moving their body, being strong. Imagine how different everybody could feel. And I think, like, if that, I would love that to be my superpower, because firstly I wouldn't really need to do anything, because I would just do what I'm doing with somebody else's body, and then being able to see that at the end.
Huge, man.
Oh my God, it would just be amazing. And I wish so much that you could do that, because see if someone felt the way you feel when you wake up in the morning and you are like 5 a.m. buzzing to get out your bed and make on your day. Can you imagine that? That the only way you get it is by doing it. So,
and I think that's the thing, you've hit the nail on the head. It's like that overall well-being. It's not just that one thing that you do.
Yeah.
And I think, like what I was saying there, like that wee shot is that quick fix. It's that Amazon society. We want everything
yesterday,
like there, if not the day before. And you just go, that's where the longevity of what people do isn't necessarily there. So I'm everyone. So I've just got to take your bodies, make you feel absolutely amazing. That's on the superpower.
That's it. So that's on the schedule for the retreat, by the way. So sign up. 5-year waiting list, just so you know.
Just constantly back to back to back. But it would be pretty amazing, for sure. Now, the next episodes.
Yes.
So this is a wee bit daunting to say. So episode 1's done.
Yeah.
Episode 2, the Dubai Dream.
Yes, so we're just going to leave that there. So you can tune into the next episode and see what the down is with the Dubai Dream. Okay, guys, we'll see you later on.
Bye, guys.
Bye.